This is Andrew Bosin. I'm a technology lawyer. I'm based in New Jersey. Represent SaaS software and artificial intelligence early stage startup companies all across the US. I've built and scaled one SaaS startup as an entrepreneur and general counsel, Delaware C Corp, and I'm currently building an artificial intelligence analytics, predictive analytics platform for youth sports with partners. I'm also the general counsel. And I spend about 70 to 80% of my time in my law firm handling specific SaaS, AI, and software clients that have highly specialized needs. This video is for informational purposes only. It's not for legal advice. If you need legal advice, please call me at 201-446-9643. I'm sure on YouTube or wherever you're looking, you might be Googling SaaS startup success, or, how do I make a SaaS startup successful, or what are the legal tips or keys for SaaS startup success? And, after building and exiting from a SaaS startup and now building another AI web-based business and counseling SaaS and web-based clients for about 12 or 13 years now, I certainly don't have all the answers, but I have a lot of experience in building and scaling SaaS startups and counseling software entrepreneurs to know that the first ingredient is really hard work. There's simply no substitute for grit, tenacity, and hard work and rolling up your sleeves. I remember in my first startup, we'd have some success, then take a step back, then we'd take 2 steps up, and then we would take 2 steps backwards. There's simply nothing more important than having the mindset that you're going to work your butt off. Number 2 is money. Every week I speak to startups, and although if you Google 90% of startups fail, and there's reasons why. Yes, good business, bad business idea. Failing to execute, yes. But you can't do it without money. And I can't overemphasize enough the sheer amount of startups that simply do not have enough money to start a company, build a company, or scale a company. Some potential clients will call me. They don't even have enough money for my legal fees. And I'm always like, well, whatever app you're building, if iOS or Android does a push and you don't have a developer and you got to pay your developers, you're going to be paying your developers to fix the bugs or defects that occur as a result of those pushes. Or what if a potential client wants you to do some development work and to give so that they can, try out the software? Well, what are you going to do if you don't have any money? What about marketing, legal, social, insurance? It's kind of mind-boggling, the amount of I guess, lack of thought that goes into a startup. But if you don't have a sufficient amount of capital or the ability to raise capital, and this does not mean when startups tell me, oh, well, our sales are going to explode and, we're going to scale through the ability because we're going to sell a lot of our software. That's not a good reason to go into business, and that's not a great plan. And that's not something I would say to an investor. The other thing that I get asked all the time is, where do I incorporate? How do I incorporate? What's the best vehicle for incorporating? Again, I'm not giving you legal advice. A lot of what I'm telling you today is just what I see as a lawyer and as an entrepreneur. It's really just pragmatic, which is, and again, talk to an accountant, talk to a CPA to determine the best legal structure for you. But if you want to bring on lots of people and you want to motivate people with sweat equity and you want to easily give out shares or get more shares, I find the best corporate entity is a Delaware C Corp. If you're just going to be yourself or one other person, you don't need funding ever. Let's say you guys are developers, you built a really cool app and you're starting to make money. An LLC is probably okay. But once you start to bring on more people or advisors or investors or sweat equity or a salesperson or this or that, it's very hard to do it within the parameters of an LLC. You need really strong website terms of use and privacy policies. I think there's a lot of confusion out there about all of these agreements. So let me try to just, give some clarity here. when you go to the bottom of any static website, wherever you're on, there should be in the footer a website terms of use and a privacy policy. Terms of use really deals with people going on the site and kicking the tires. The privacy policy deals with that also, but it deals with and letting your customers know what information you're taking from them, and simply put, what are you doing with that information? How are you storing it, maintaining it, using it, stuff like that. So if you're a SaaS or artificial intelligence vendor, not only do you need those two, you need also a customer subscription agreement, which deals with use of your software, limitations. You own all the IP, all the intellectual property, the number of users, limiting warranties, limiting liability, arbitration clauses, indemnification clauses, stuff like that. And you might need an end user license agreement if a large company is using your software and there's a lot of users. But those are the types of agreements that I generally will recommend to a SaaS or an AI vendor. I also spend quite a bit of time speaking to SaaS and AI vendors about data and personal data, and what kind of data does their software take in from clients, and what are they doing with it, and what are the clients able to do with the data, especially with AI and output. They're putting certain information into the algorithm, and what is that spitting out in terms of output? Who owns that output? Does the customer, whatever they're putting into your AI platform, do they own that information or data, or they have a license to use that data? So, there's a lot of issues that people need to think through. I would say about 20% of my practice deals with SaaS or AI healthcare entities or vendors, always dealing with HIPAA and protected health information, things along the nature. I generally will give my clients an NDA. I give them my NDA. That's really from 50,000 feet what I see in terms of a SaaS or AI company and legal. I mean, you could drive yourself crazy Googling SaaS or AI startup success. There's really only a certain amount of information that's going to help you if you don't work hard, leave your ego at the door, have enough capital, or be able to raise enough capital and get really good legal work. If you're building a SaaS, Delaware, or artificial intelligence startup all across the U.S., please contact me, Andrew Bosin. I'm located in New Jersey at 201-446-9643.